Having become arguably the greatest lightweight of all time during his stint in the UFC, Khabib Nurmagomedov is now enjoying retirement, but that doesn't mean he is completely inactive. Since retiring, he has now become a highly successful MMA coach, training some of the UFC's scariest fighters. Today, we are discussing every fighter Khabib trained at last weekend's UFC 280 in Abu Dhabi, plus a surprise request from a top-ranked featherweight. Stay with us. First up, we're talking Islam Makhachev, the Dagestani, a longtime training partner of Khabib, came into Saturday night's world title fight as the favorite and did not disappoint. Islam submitted the previous lightweight incumbent, Charles Oliveira, by arm triangle choke in the second round, scooping up the vacant title in the process. Charles had been stripped after failing to make weight against Justin Gaethje earlier this year. Makhachev and Nurmagomedov have been inseparable for years now, with the pair having trained together since they were young up-and-comers in the MMA world, and having stepped away from the sport after his October 2020 fight with Gaethje. Khabib has championed Makhachev as his natural heir and successor ever since, and he finally got his wish in Abu Dhabi this past weekend as Islam took the title easily. He dominated his Brazilian opponent from start to finish and even beat him at his own game, submitting the submission king. After the fight, Khabib joined his Russian charge in the octagon to congratulate him, hoisting him up onto his shoulders and parading the newly crowned lightweight king around for all to see. There is a feeling amongst MMA enthusiasts that this could be the beginning of a long reign as lightweight champion for Makhachev, but his first test could actually be one of the hardest fights he will ever be involved in, as it has been strongly suggested by Dana White that he will now face featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski. Who do you guys have it if that one goes down? Next up, it's Belal Muhammad. Stay with us. Muhammad is currently riding a 9-fight win streak in the UFC's welterweight division, and as such, is well placed for a title shot. And in a bid to get through a tough fight this weekend with another top welterweight contender, Sean Brady, Belal decided to train with Khabib. Of course, he got the job done after stopping Brady in the second with a fine display of striking, but many people believed these two might simply nullify each other with their wrestling ability. However, Team Khabib members seem to be cut from a different cloth. After piling the pressure on Brady, Muhammad was able to grind him down in the second, and his experience at a Dagestani fight camp clearly paid off. As he revealed, "I've been in many different gyms, and when they say Dagestanis train different, they're different." He went on to explain how Khabib and his team have been doing since they were children, and revealed that their level of strength or level of grappling, the level of just when Khabib walks into the room, it's like an army, there's no joking around. Sounds serious. Muhammad also explained how one of the biggest weapons in the Team Khabib arsenal is the discipline they have, before alluding to the fact that it helps having lots of Muslims around the place, and it makes things easier if you are able to pray together after training. What do you guys make of Belal's words? Abubakar Nurmagomedov is coming through next. As you might have guessed by the name, Abubakar is one of Khabib's cousins, and as such, has been around the team for a long time. At UFC 280 over the weekend, he came up against Gadzhi Omargadzhiev, scoring a unanimous decision win. Nurmagomedov turns out in the same division as Belal Muhammad, but doesn't quite have the same skill set as his teammate. He was somewhat of a latecomer to the UFC too, only making his debut in November 2019, and has still only fought 3 times in 3 years. However, he has been fighting for more than a decade and holds a more than respectable record of 17-3-1. Following Saturday night's fight, where he again displayed that wrestling ability, which has become so synonymous with Team Khabib, Nurmagomedov has now won his last 2 fights, so it will be interesting to see who he comes up against next. He also hit the headlines shortly after the main event finished, as Makhchev was taking part in his post-fight interview. Nurmagomedov and Khamzat Chimaev were involved in a cage-side brawl, as you might expect. I mean, it is Khamzat, but the pair were pictured together shortly after, as Khabib stepped in to make peace between his Russian brothers. Who do you think Abubakar should fight next? Let us know below. So, what about this surprise request Khabib has received? Stay tuned to find out. Perennial featherweight challenger Brian Ortega is undoubtedly talented, one of the slickest proponents of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the game. Ortega has come up short against the other guys towards the top of the featherweight rankings of late, dropping L's to champion Alexander Volkanovski, former champ Max Holloway, and Yair Rodriguez last time out. And as the dust settles on UFC 280 and another successful outing for Coach Khabib, Ortega has issues, a come-and-get-me plea to the former lightweight king. Ortega clearly needs to change something, as he doesn't seem to be able to get past the guys above him in the division. So what better way than to team up with Team Khabib? Shortly after last weekend's fights, Ortega took to Twitter to almost beg Khabib to impart his wrestling wisdom on him, tweeting, "Khabib, please train me." Khabib has been hailed as one of the best trainers in the game of late. And as his charges at UFC 280 took a clean sweep of wins, Khabib's training style was again brought to the fore. Khabib took over his father's training duties following his death during the COVID pandemic and has credited Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov for helping develop him into the fighter, trainer, and man he is. And Ortega isn't the only fighter to request help from Khabib recently, as Kevin Holland has also expressed an interest in working with the Dagestani. Do you guys think Khabib should take Ortega on? Next up, Khabib has had his say on a potential Volkanovski versus Makhachev showdown, as Islam realized his dream of becoming lightweight champion on Saturday night in Abu Dhabi. Attention quickly turned to his first defense, which looks like it will almost certainly be against Alexander Volkanovski. The Aussie was present at the arena last weekend, having been the backup fighter should neither guy make weight, and even appeared in the octagon post-fight, as Islam called out the short guy. Islam also suggested he has a new target, explaining he wants to become #1 pound for pound, but his coach has also given his thoughts on how he sees that particular fight playing out, after Makhchev revealed he would be more than willing to fight on the Perth card against Volk early next year. Khabib unsurprisingly revealed that he believes his old mate will become double champ at the Aussie's expense. He said, "Volkanovski, we respect you, but we're gonna take your place, brother. You have pound for pound #1 right now, but Islam is gonna be on your side. You have to prepare." Khabib then suggested that the featherweight king will eat a lot of knees, before then warning Volk he would take him down and choke him out. Of course, Volk acknowledged Islam's wrestling ability, saying the plan now is to get ready by bringing in plenty of wrestling guys to help with his camp. We can't wait. And finally, Charles Oliveira has revealed what Khabib told him in the octagon after the fight. Of course, Charles came up short last weekend as he was tapped by Islam, but he had to deal with some unsavory words by Khabib Nurmagomedov in the build-up to the fight. Of course, Khabib often likes to act all high and mighty given his faith, but seems to have no problem insulting people in the build-up to fights, which he again displayed in the build-up to UFC 280. Khabib warned Oliveira that Makhachev would ride him like a horse when they met in the octagon, but Charles has since explained that Nurmagomedov apologized after the fight, explaining that he had to hype and promote the fight as one of the most highly anticipated fights of the year. However, Khabib literally didn't need to say anything about the Brazilian. People were going to watch that fight whatever happened. Charles revealed, "He came up to me and just basically said that everything was just promoting the fight. He had respect for me and he is a great champion." He then added, "He has an amazing journey in the sport, and now he has a great champion next to him. And all he was basically saying was that he respects me and it was all part of the game." What do you make of Oliveira's words? As usual, thanks for dropping in on us today, and remember to tune in again next time when we will be discussing all sorts of other cool bits and pieces. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on more great bits in the future. Bye guys.